And we are back to another episode after 1 full year, by the way, to the Train Well podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. What do we do here, D? We inspire you to move more, to get stronger, and have fun. Say what's good, and what are we talking about today, D?
Yes. So excited to be in our second year of podcasting. Crazy. Okay, well, here's what I was thinking about. I people are gonna be like blech, barf. But I often think how lucky I am, how grateful I am to be a fitness person. And what I mean by that is that I don't have to try hard to get myself to be active and to do workouts and to exercise. It is something that comes so naturally and easy for me. And it's just part of who I am. And the reason I feel so grateful for that is because, as you also have, Joey, you have clients. And I've had so many clients over the years, hundreds of clients, who it is so incredibly hard for them to get started. And I really, truly feel for them because it is just not who they are yet to have an instinct to get up and move. And I think truly I was born this way. I never stopped moving as a child. I was constantly climbing on everything, swinging from everything, jumping on everything. To the point where even my mom told me once that when I was a kid, she couldn't even take me to the playground because she was too scared. My dad had to take me to the playground because I was wild. So it's just in my nature. I used to randomly, for fun, I would ask my dad, I give him a stopwatch and I said, come time me. I'd run back and forth in a field and I make him time me. It's just who I am. But I often think, how could we help other people become fitness people, to build that fitness identity where they no longer have to try hard to start working out?
Well, first of all, I feel for your mom. I certainly would not want to take you to the park. That'd be nuts. That's kind of how you mentioned, some people are just like hardwired a certain way, like the person who just can't stop jittering, the person who can't stop thinking about math, the person who can't stop writing or drawing or whatnot, right? Yes, I think it is genetically embedded in us for sure. And it's kind of crazy to see different people, like you have super athletic parents and the kids like aren't so athletic. They hate movement, right? So it's nothing that can be predestined, really, like understood, right? But to your point, I think people are hardwired for sure. And so if you're not hardwired, that's okay. What we want to get out of today is how we can start getting on that path. And I basically just want to say that from this quote I just looked up is that the secret to who you are and your future lies in your daily routine and daily habits. And I'll just make a long story short, a TLDR is that what you do day in and day out establishes who you are. Like, and for me personally, like, much like you, when, like, for example, like when my wife and I went on our honeymoon, like, we don't even think about it. We're going to work out. We're going to move, right? Ideally together, right? And so it's just automatically in the equation. And that came through years and years and years of doing something movement related. And over time, I learned that movement made me feel good. Movement made me think clearer. Movement made me better at this, better at that. And so I realized like this is an essential part of my life that was founded on so many tiny little like little habits stacked over and over again that it's automatic. It's part of my brain, again, part of your identity. So that's what I would say is start with the smallest, even tiniest of domino effect you can think of, whether it's a everyday 5-minute walk to your mailbox and back. Go buy a dog. Like a dog will automatically make you walk. 5-minute stretch, right? But I think that whatever you choose to start with, you got to be bought in on everything you wholeheartedly want to set your mind to, because that's going to ultimately bedrock who you are as a person. So that's my I don't know if that makes sense. I'm just rambling, but start with one tiny habit and build upon that. Make it automatic for me.
Yeah, I think habits are huge, and there is no habit that's too small to start with, I don't think. I often notice for people who don't have a fitness identity, when they are on a roll with it, they can keep it going. When something happens, sickness, vacation, um, school schedule changes, work schedule changes, they fall off, and it's so much harder for them to get back on. Whereas when I quote unquote fall off, I never, literally never think of myself as falling off. But for example, if I go on vacation and I don't, intentionally work out while there, I am, because I'm active, I will always just kind of do active things. But if I don't intentionally work out, there is no fear. I have no fear whatsoever that I am now never going to work out again. I literally don't even consider, oh, when will I get my work? It just is what I will do when I get home. I will just go back to the gym, pick up right where I left off. That is like the ease that I am blessed with, and like you are blessed with, because we have built this identity. And I think it does start with habits, but additionally, I think what my tip is mindset. I think you really need to start thinking of yourself as a person who does fitness, as a person who effortlessly moves and desires to move and wants to move, even if you don't like feel it like in your heart and in your body, but to just think, I am a fitness person. And what does that mean? What, like, maybe you do a little exercise, or you do a little journaling prompt. I actually used to have people do this, where they think to themselves, um, if I, feel and look the way I want to look, what do I do? What does that person do? And that person usually is like more active than that version of themselves is more active. So, but you just have to put yourself in that mindset. Okay, well, I am this person who does these things and prioritizes this way. So, what do I now have to do to be that person? What do you think of that?
I love that because I do this all the time with my journaling. So years ago, I used to always be late, always, and it always ticked me off. And so what I used to do is I said, I had a hard sit down with myself. I'm like, I am no longer going to be late. I don't know what the tipping point was, but I was sick of being late. And so when I would journal, right, I would get up at the top rubric of my little margin sheet. I would say, I am always early, even though wasn't always early yet. I just wrote that. I wrote it not every day, every like 3 or 4 days, right? When I turn the page, I am always early. I am always early. And that slowly built my subconscious mindset to then take on the role of I am no longer late. I encourage the person listening to like step outside themselves and be like, what do I want to be? And then write it down, pen to paper. The more often you can do it, like you can do it every single day because you will slowly become that person. When we bought our house, I remember like it was still getting built, and I parked my truck on the driveway back then, and I took a picture because I wanted to Photoshop. Okay, we don't have this house yet; it's still being built. We still got to go through closing and underwriting, all that. But I framed that mindset of I want to live there, and we're here today. Like I think that's extremely powerful. That mindset trick you can do. But yeah, write it down. Another tip I would say is forget the losses fast. And they call it that something in sport. Like if you're a pitcher and you throw a home run, you
Hmm,
have a short memory. Well, there you go. Short memory of that. Short memory of that.
we do.
Because like if you miss a day, right? You don't dwell on it. The clock starts over. Like get on the next day, just go from there. Forget that. Have a short memory. Do not focus on the failures, right? And you have to lose this all or nothing mentality. You just have to. Like it's a daily investment. I think Ali said fitness is the rent, or service to others is the rent you pay here on earth, right? Service to others. And I would add to that, service to yourself. That's what fitness is. You're depositing a little bit of money each day every time you check a box with mobility or a walk or whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be the 90-minute workout at the gym, the 60-minute workout at the gym. Focus on what you can do today. Forget oh gosh, I can't tell you how many people say like, I can't go to the gym for an hour. It's just not worth it. I'm just going to sit on the couch and eat ice cream and watch Netflix, right? You got to lose that all or nothing mentality. So there you go. Have a short memory and don't have the all or nothing mindset mentality. We
Yeah.
talked about that so many times.
Yeah, I think it's important to say again because I still think people do get into that mindset. It's hard to release yourself from that mindset, especially if that's been your habit. Here's another thing I recently learned about. Do you ever listen to Mel Robbins' podcast? One of our
No, no,
peers.
no, I
See,
don't.
that's me thinking myself into a famous podcasting identity because Mel Robbins, of
Okay.
course, is like one of the top podcasters out there. I'm sure anyone listening to our podcast knows who Mel Robbins is and maybe has listened to an episode, but she has a book. And in one of her books, she has this kind of protocol, this 5 second protocol to put your feelings aside, right? To not let your feelings come into play when you need to act. In the sense of, she was giving it because I just listened to an episode of Armchair Expert where they're interviewing Mel Robbins, and she's talking about how this whole protocol for her came about, which was that she was in like the darkest place of her life and she just could not get out of bed. She just couldn't get out of bed. And one night she's like on the couch drinking and she's watching TV and she has this epiphany that like she sees like a rocket go off, like a space rocket on TV, and it was like the countdown, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it rocketed away, you know. And she just
Rocketed.
thought, that's what I'm gonna do. Rocketed away. That's what I'm gonna do when my alarm goes off in the morning. I'm just gonna count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just gonna get up before I can even think about whether I am or not. I'm just going to get up. And then she started using that for every aspect of her life to get herself to do the things she knew she needed and ultimately wanted to do but couldn't get herself to do. Even though I'm a fitness person, there are days where I go, okay, am I going to go to the gym now? Am I going to go later? Will I do a workout at home? And I realize the more I think about this, the more I'm just wasting time. I'm just driving to the gym. End of story. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're going. Don't give yourself time to talk yourself out of it, to consider another option. Just do it. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do a squat.
Yeah, it's crazy how she probably made like millions off that little small
God,
principle.
yes. And it's so, you think to yourself, why didn't I think of that?
I know. I remember my wife told me about that one time, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But like no matter what, I always tell people to ready, fire, aim. Like don't sit there aiming, and not pulling the trigger. I can't stand that, right? Kind of like my wife when she can't decide where to go to a restaurant, right? Like she's just aiming. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I have another thing that you said something there. You said before that the habits, like a habit is not too small, right?
Yeah,
And there's this book I read. It's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And in this book, he said that the things we need to do, just like this, Robbins, thank you. The things that you need to do, right? They're just as easy to do them and they're just as easy not to do them, right? Like unloading the dishwasher, simple task,
I
right?
never do that.
But like you think like, yeah, like you have to do it, right? Like it has to get done, but it's so easy to skip it. And I always tell people like brushing their teeth, like it's so easy to do it, once you get in the habit, but it's so easy not to do it. Just like going for a walk every day, easy to do, quote unquote, but it's so easy to be like, nope, I don't have to do it. Just get it done. Check the box because that check box will add and add and add. And who knows, maybe 5, 10 years, you'll be a personal trainer someday talking on a podcast.
You could be, you just never know. So I just wanted to mostly encourage people who are thinking, I want to be consistent so badly. I want to work out. I know it's good for me. Like there is this phrase, and I'm not going to remember it now, about the things you want to do and the things you want to do. And there are so many people who want to work out and they do. And then there are people who are like, I do want to work out, but I don't really. I want to, but I just don't. Like they know it's good for them and they should be working out or exercising. It's still more painful to exercise than it is not to. And so often people do not do something until it is more painful to not do the thing. But you don't have to wait until you're in that much pain and distress to start. You can start right now with any option and just really set your mind to, I am a fitness person. I'm just say it right now. I'm a fitness person. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's it.
You know what the good thing about pain though is? It can be extremely motivating. And
It
it's
is
kind of
very
sad,
motivating.
right? Like it takes to have the heart attack, so to speak, to actually get on their bike, right? It takes the the relationship that just crumbled, right, to start working on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? It takes that pain. So that's a great motivator. And I always use pain, a little bit of pain, bring the pain, baby, major pain. Bring that to me a little bit because I always think it's you got to choose your hard. It's hard to get those workouts in. It's hard to skip the dessert, but it's harder to have coronary artery disease or atherosclerosis or a heart attack, a stroke, right? You got to pick your hard. Just as hard
And
to do, just as hard not to do.
I agree. And you know what? Speaking of hard, just real quick, last thing I thought of. You don't have to do a hard workout. That's the thing, is like, especially if you're feeling this resistance to getting there, don't start with like heavy lifting or like the least enjoyable thing you can imagine, like running on a track, which is like the least enjoyable thing I can imagine.
Wait.
Start
How's your running routine going so far? You bought shoes.
with
I was
Joey.
thinking about this.
My shoes are collecting dust. I gave up. I did like 4 runs and I was like, I don't think this is for me. It's just not for me. I want it, but I don't. I just don't. I just thought, you know what? I can ride a bike. I enjoy that. And I can get on a rower. I enjoy that. And those are great ways to improve cardio too. So that's actually to my point. Don't pick the thing you hate and start there. Start with the thing that you can at very least tolerate. And, best case scenario, find something you enjoy and start there, because we just got to get that snowball rolling.
Yeah, get that snowball rolling until it's a massive boulder. And then we can start talking about things you don't like to do, because you got to do a little bit of what you like and what you don't like, because that's going to make you move the needle forward. But wherever you are, folks, on your fitness journey, start that identity shaping today. Start building those habits. We want to hear from you. Tell us one thing that you learned from this episode, maybe 2 things you learned from the episode. Maybe it's to listen to Mel Robbins more, like I should do, right? But we want to hear from you. You can always reach out, email us. You could even text us. Click that link in the show notes.
Yes, as always, sign up for your 14-day free trial to try Train Well. Get your very own personal trainer who can help you build your fitness identity. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Adios.